What if the final season of Outlander begins not with peace, but with a secret so powerful it could rewrite everything we thought we knew about Claire, Jamie, and their family? What if the mystery left hanging at the end of Season 7 is more than just a shocking twist, but the key that ties together decades of unanswered questions? Today, we dive deep into the Faith storyline and explore every theory, every clue, and every possible twist that could explode onto our screens in Episode 1 of Season 8. When Season 7 ended, fans were left reeling. The cliffhanger centered around a mystery connected to Faith, a name already carrying weight in the Outlander universe. Longtime viewers remember that Claire once had a daughter named Faith, who tragically never lived beyond infancy. That loss was one of the most heartbreaking chapters in Claire and Jamie's journey. So when the show suddenly hints at another Faith in the Season 7 finale, it wasn't just a shock. It was a deliberate move to pull at one of the most emotional threads in the entire series. But who is this Faith? Is she really connected to Claire and Jamie? Or is her name simply a cruel coincidence? Could she be alive because of forces beyond what the characters, or even we as fans, understand? These are the burning questions that set the stage for Season 8. Let's begin with the most straightforward possibility. In Diana Gabaldon's original books, Faith does not return. Claire and Jamie accept that the baby they lost was gone forever, and any other mention of the name is explained as coincidence. In fact, when Claire encounters a character whose mother is named Faith, she and Jamie briefly discuss whether it could be linked to their own lost child, but they ultimately dismiss the idea, reminding us that not every thread has to circle back to them. That was the book version. The show, however, has never been afraid to take liberties. Showrunner Matthew B. Roberts has made it clear that his vision of Outlander won't always match Diana's. In interviews, he has hinted that the final season might diverge in significant ways from the book's conclusion. If that is true, then Faith's reappearance isn't just a coincidence. It's intentional, and it's meant to set the tone for Season 8. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Fans will remember Master Raymond, the enigmatic healer who crossed paths with Claire back in Paris. His character was shrouded in mystery, a man who seemed to know more than he ever revealed, with strange powers and knowledge that stretched far beyond his time. Diana Gabaldon herself once described Master Raymond as a prehistoric time traveler. That means his origins, his abilities, and his connection to Claire run deeper than we've seen on the surface. So when Claire dreams of Master Raymond apologizing for something unknown, it immediately raises questions. What is he sorry for? Could he have interfered with Faith's fate? Imagine if, instead of allowing Claire's child to die, Raymond somehow intervened, saving her life, or even transporting her across time. If that happened, it would change everything. It would mean that the daughter Claire mourned wasn't truly gone. It would mean that the Faith we're hearing about at the end of Season 7 could be that very child, alive but hidden from her parents all these years. Of course, that theory raises even more questions. If Master Raymond really did save Faith, why would he keep it a secret? Why wouldn't Claire and Jamie know? Why leave them in agony believing they had lost their baby? Some fans believe his apology in Claire's dream is the clue, that he regrets hiding the truth, and now it is finally coming to light. Others suggest something darker, that Raymond's actions were not out of kindness, but necessity. Perhaps Faith was taken away because her existence could disrupt the fragile balance of time itself. But let's not stop there. There's another possibility that connects this mystery to the recent prequel, Blood of My Blood. That series revealed surprising new details about Claire's parents. We learned that after the car accident near the stones at Inverness, Claire's parents didn't die in the way we thought. Instead, they traveled back in time to the year 1714. And to make matters even more shocking, Claire's mother, Julia, was pregnant at the time. That means Claire may have had a sibling, a revelation that throws everything we thought we knew into question. So how does this connect to Season 8? Some fans believe that Julia's child could become an ancestor of the mysterious Faith we see mentioned at the end of Season 7. If Julia gave birth in the 18th century, the timeline could open a path for this child, or their descendants, to eventually connect to the characters we know. Could Faith actually be Claire's niece? Could this twist weave Claire's bloodline into the mystery in ways she never imagined? The show has already proven that it's willing to pull in threads from both the original books and new material. By introducing Julia's pregnancy in Blood of My Blood, the writers created an open door to link Faith's story to Claire's family in an unexpected way. That means Faith might not be Claire's lost daughter, but still someone deeply connected to her, perhaps through blood, perhaps through time, or perhaps both. And this is only the beginning. Because when episode 1 of season 8 arrives, the show cannot drag this question out forever. They ended season 7 with a cliffhanger that demands resolution. Fans need answers quickly or the mystery risks losing its power. That means episode 1 will likely dive straight into the Faith storyline, giving us explanations, revelations, and perhaps even a shocking confrontation that sets the tone for the entire season. If episode 1 truly begins with Faith's mystery, then the first conversation we can expect is between Claire and Jamie. They've carried grief for decades, grief that shaped their choices, their marriage, and even their survival. So imagine the weight of a moment when Jamie looks into Claire's eyes and asks, could she still be alive? That single question alone would shake their world. This would not be an easy conversation. Claire is a woman of science, but she has seen too much to dismiss the impossible. Jamie is a man of faith, yet his life has been marked by loss and tragedy. The two of them standing together daring to hope would be the emotional core that sets the stage for the season. And then comes Fanny. Her mother's name is Faith. She has 2 daughters, Jane and Fanny, and her story connects directly to the mystery. Could this Faith be the same one Claire once lost? Or are we dealing with a completely different woman who just happens to share the same name? If it's coincidence, it would feel almost cruel. But if it isn't, then the questions multiply. How did Faith survive? Who raised her, and why was her existence hidden? This is where Master Raymond's shadow looms large. In the show, the last time we saw him outside Claire's dream was in France, seasons ago. Bringing him back now wouldn't just be a nostalgic nod to book readers. It would be a direct signal that the writers intend to use him as the key to unlock the Faith storyline. And let's not forget, the actor who plays Raymond has already confirmed his return. He even hinted that he filmed a flashback sequence. Think about that for a moment. A flashback means we won't just hear about what happened. We'll see it. We'll step back into the past, into the shadows of what Claire thought was the most tragic chapter of her life, and learn that something far more complicated was happening behind the scenes. But here's the twist. Raymond's role doesn't have to mean that Faith survived as Claire's daughter. Another theory suggests he saved a child, yes, but not the one Claire believed. Maybe Raymond took in a girl named Faith, taught her things no ordinary 18th century woman could know, and set her on a path that eventually crossed with Jane and Fanny. That would explain why the song Claire once sang to her baby somehow ended up in Faith's household. If Raymond knew the song himself, as a traveler from another time, he could have passed it along. And let's not ignore the possibility that Faith herself might have been a time traveler. That theory has circulated in fan discussions for years. If Faith had powers like Claire's, if she could move between centuries, it would explain why her life and her story seem to weave in and out of impossible timelines. That could even be why Raymond apologized. Not because he saved a life, but because his choices altered the course of history in ways Claire could never have prepared for. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Even if episode 1 gives us these answers, Outlander has much more to tackle in its final season. There are only 10 episodes, and the writers have to bring closure not only to the Faith storyline but also to the lives of every major character. New villains are coming to the Ridge. Old allies like Marsali and Fergus will return with fresh challenges of their own. And then there's William, caught in a storm of identity, loyalty, and desire. The fact that William slept with Jane already caused a storm among fans. Some feared the writers would take his story in directions that bordered on disturbing, but most believe the writers won't cross that line. Instead, William's relationships and choices will open new conflicts, conflicts that tie into both, the Faith storyline and his own search for purpose. And then there's Lord John Grey, one of the most beloved characters in the series. We already know he will be kidnapped in Season 8, setting up a rescue mission that drags Jamie and Claire into yet another dangerous confrontation. The stakes couldn't be higher. Not only is John Grey family by bond, but his safety directly affects William, creating ripple effects across all their storylines. But all of this, the kidnappings, the new villains, the battles, still rests under the shadow of the greatest question of all. How will Jamie and Claire's story end? Season 8 isn't just another chapter, it's the last chapter. Every scene, every revelation, and every twist will be judged by how it carries these two legendary characters toward their final fate. And here's where the Faith storyline matters most. It isn't just about a mystery or a name. It's about whether Claire and Jamie will face the end of their story with the weight of tragedy, or with one last miracle that changes everything they thought they lost. To truly understand the Faith mystery, we can't ignore what Blood of My Blood has already revealed. That prequel shook the foundation of everything we thought we knew about Claire's past. For decades, we believed Claire's childhood was defined by loss. Her parents killed in a car accident when she was just 5 years old, leaving her to be raised by Uncle Lamb. That detail shaped Claire's character and gave her the resilience that carried her through every trial. But then came the twist. The accident near the stones at Inverness was not the end of her parents' story. Instead, the stones pulled them through time, transporting them back to the early 1700s. And if that wasn't shocking enough, Claire's mother Julia was pregnant when it happened. This means Claire may have had a sibling, born not in the 20th century, but in the 18th. Think about the ripple effects of that revelation. A sibling lost in time, a family tree rewritten. If Julia gave birth in 1714, that child could have grown up in an entirely different world, married, and had children of their own. Generations could have spread forward, branching into unexpected connections. And now we're left to ask, could one of those descendants be the Faith we see referenced at the end of Season 7? The timeline math is tricky, but not impossible. Julia's child would have been Claire's sibling, and their children could have carried the family line into later generations. Perhaps a daughter named Hope, whose own child might be called Faith. That would mean the mysterious Faith is not Claire's daughter at all, but her niece. If true, Season 8 would turn the heartbreak of losing Faith into something unexpected. Not the return of a lost child, but the discovery of family hidden by time. But there's another layer here. If Claire's family line was reshaped by time, travel, then every choice Julia made in the past echoes forward. The very existence of a sibling opens the door for conflicts, rivalries, and surprises that Claire could never have imagined. What if Julia's child became entangled with powerful families in the 18th century? What if that bloodline intersected with characters we already know? Suddenly, Faith's presence is not random. It's destiny. And here's where Outlander thrives. This series has always blended history, romance, and time travel into a story where fate and free will constantly collide. By pulling in Blood of My Blood, the writers are laying the groundwork for Season 8 to connect the dots in ways that honor both the past and the present. Let's not forget how Claire's dream of Master Raymond fits into this puzzle. If he was involved in Faith's story, maybe he wasn't just saving one child. Maybe he was guiding a lineage, teaching songs from another century, passing along knowledge that could ripple through generations. His apology in Claire's dream could have been for manipulating a chain of events so vast and so personal that even he knew it crossed a line. Now, let's turn to the emotional heart of this mystery. Imagine Claire learning that Faith is connected, not through resurrection, but through family, through Julia's lost child. That revelation would strike her in two ways. First, grief, because the daughter she once mourned remains gone. But second, hope, because the name Faith still matters. It ties her to a family she never knew she had. It proves that even in loss, life continues. And what about Jamie? For him, the name Faith carries sacred weight. It reminds him of the daughter he never got to raise, the tiny spark of life he prayed for and lost. To hear that another faith exists, linked to Claire's bloodline, would shake him to his core. Would he embrace her as family, or fear that hope is too dangerous to touch? This emotional tension is exactly why the writers placed the faith cliffhanger. At the end of Season 7, it wasn't just a twist, it was a promise. A promise that Season 8 would begin not with action or battle, but with heart, grief, and the kind of questions only Outlander dares to ask. And yet this mystery is only one piece of the puzzle. Because Season 8 is not simply about faith. It must also close the circle on Claire and Jamie's journey. Which means while Episode 1 may resolve the faith storyline quickly, the rest of the season has to grapple with much larger forces. War, prophecy, and the fate of two characters who have carried us through decades of love and loss. If the faith storyline is resolved early in Season 8, then what comes next must carry even greater weight. The writers know this is the final chapter. Every thread, every unanswered question, every ghost that has haunted the story will need to be addressed. And no mystery looms larger than Jamie's ghost. From the very first episode of Season 1, fans have wondered, how is it that Frank Randall sees Jamie's ghost standing in the rain, staring at Claire through the window? The show has held that secret close for years. But now, as we step into the last season, answers are no longer optional. Could Faith's storyline somehow connect to that mystery as well? If time travel, family lines, and lost children are at play, then perhaps Jamie's ghost isn't just a vision. Perhaps it's tied to the same web of destiny that brought Faith's name back into the story. But even beyond the supernatural, Season 8 carries the weight of war. The American Revolution is closing in. Jamie has been warned of battles to come, and we already know from the teasers that Brianna brings him Frank's book, the very book that records his death in battle. That revelation will hit Jamie like a hammer. For the first time, he is forced to ask, is my fate already written? Can I fight against history itself, or will every path lead me to that moment? This tension will run alongside the faith storyline. While Claire and Jamie search for answers about her identity, they will also be forced to confront the possibility of Jamie's death. The season will push them to question not only their past, but their future. And with only 10 episodes, every hour will carry massive weight. We know certain arcs are guaranteed. Lord John Grey's kidnapping will pull Jamie and Claire into danger, testing their loyalty and their courage. William will find himself caught between identities, torn by love, duty, and the shadow of the Fraser bloodline. Marsali and Fergus will return, bringing family drama back to the Ridge. And new villains will rise, determined to challenge the Frasers and everything they have built. But for all these threads, the heart of Outlander has always been Jamie and Claire. Their love, their sacrifices, their ability to endure when the world fell apart. Season 8 must honor that legacy, which is why the faith mystery matters so deeply. It's not only a puzzle for the fans, it's a test for them as characters. Will they be given a miracle, or will they be forced to let go of the past forever? Picture this. Episode 1 begins with Claire and Jamie searching for truth, chasing the whispers of faith's name. They confront Fanny, demand answers, and piece together fragments of memory. Master Raymond returns, his flashback scene revealing secrets hidden for decades. And then, the mystery resolves, perhaps in grief, perhaps in revelation, but undeniably in a way that sets the tone for everything to come. From that moment onward, the season shifts from mystery to destiny. The remaining episodes will take us into battles, betrayals, and choices that cannot be undone. Every side character, from William to Lord John, from Fergus to Brianna, will play their part. But ultimately, the story belongs to Jamie and Claire. Will they live to see peace on the Ridge? Will they die together, as they always feared and hoped? Or will time itself intervene one last time, sending them on a journey that defies every expectation? And then there's the final question. How will history remember them? Will Jamie die in battle as the book predicts? Or will Claire find a way to change fate once more? Will Jamie's ghost finally be explained? giving closure to a mystery that began before their love story even unfolded? These are the answers fans have waited nearly a decade for. The Faith storyline may be the hook that pulls us into Season 8, but it is only the doorway. Beyond it lies the true endgame, the destiny of two characters who have carried this saga for years. And when the final credits roll, one thing is certain. Their story will end not in silence, but in a way that echoes across time. Season 8 arrives in early 2026. The wait will be long, but the questions are alive right now. Who is Faith? Why did Raymond apologize? Will Jamie die as history predicts or carve his own path? And when the end finally comes, will Claire and Jamie leave us in sorrow or in triumph? The answers are coming. And the moment episode 1 begins, the journey toward those answers will change everything we thought we knew about Outlander.